أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به فليس لله حاجة في أن يدع طعامه وشرابه. It's narrated from Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. He mentioned that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever is not willing to leave foul speech and acting according to foul speech, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of them leaving their food and drink. We look at the importance of utilizing beautiful speech during this month, and my advice to all of us, myself first and foremost, is not to allow your speech to ruin and destroy the barakah in regards to your fasting. This month is an opportunity for us to gain utmost closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we look at those who came before us, their fasting was the fasting of the tongue. So we look at Maryam alayha salam in the Quran. She fasted in the Quran. Inni nadartu lirrahmani sawman. So she fasted. Her fast was from what? From what? What did she fast from? From speech. The fasting of Zachariah. When he received the news of his newborn son, his child to be. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala advised him to fast 3 days, right? And only use gestures. Some of us, it's long overdue. We need to fast perhaps longer than 3 days. And some of us don't even need to use gestures. We just need to stop communication and fast from communication altogether. You know, the fasting of the tongue is an important part of this Ramadan. You know, we look at this particular month in my personal life. You know, this was the month where I watched my father. My father, alhamdulillah, he would show me utmost compassion and fast from raising his tongue, raising his voice. You know, I recall my father, he would tell me during this month, he would say, wait till after Ramadan. And I would hope that he would forget. And alhamdulillah, his compassion, alhamdulillah, this month it was about Allah. So I would mess up, and after Ramadan, alhamdulillah, he would eventually forget, alhamdulillah. May Allah bless my father. You know, for the fasting of the tongue, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave us plenty of advice. لا تكلم بكلام تعتذر منه غدا. He says, do not say a word that you have to come back tomorrow and apologize for. The importance of the fasting of the tongue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put wisdom within your own creation, where He's given us 2 ears, right? And 1 mouth, right? 1 tongue. And this tongue, it has before it 2 gates. Learn to utilize those gates this particular month. This month, my simple ask is for us to go through a digital fast also. You know, the average person spends 7 hours a day on these gadgets, on these phones. The average person, 7 hours a day. Now imagine if we cut that time in half and spend more time with the Quran. Spend more time pronouncing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His name. This is the importance of this month. The Prophet ﷺ has given us plenty of advice. And some of the wise people who came before us, they said that the tongue or the word is your servant, your slave, until you release it, then you become its slave. Right? The tongue is something that we have to be very careful of. Do not allow your tongue to ruin your fast. So my ask is for the husbands, watch your mouth in the household. For the wives, watch your mouth in the household. Watch the way you speak to each other, right? Watch the way you speak to each other. This month, we don't have time to argue with one another. That we leave off argumentation this particular month, and we hope that this month serves as an example for the following months. Go easy, like my father was easier on me during the month of Ramadan. Go easier on your children, right? Don't raise your tone, and spend more time in focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and giving them beautiful reminders. Alhamdulillah, we close with Luqman alayhi salam. He in the Quran, of course, he has a chapter named after him. His master told him, he says, go slaughter a sheep and bring back the best parts of the sheep. And Luqman, he brings back the heart and the tongue. And time went past, and he says, go again and slaughter another sheep. But this time, bring back the worst parts of the sheep. And he brings back again the heart and the tongue. And he says, when I asked you to bring back the best parts of the sheep, you brought back the heart and the tongue. And when I asked you to bring back the worst parts of the sheep, you again brought back the heart and the tongue. And Luqman, he explains, he said, if these things are good, the entire self is good. The connection between the heart and the tongue. It says that a person's heart lies beneath their tongue. If you want to know about the state of your heart, then listen to your own speech. Ali ibn Abi Talib, he was asked, how long does it take to get to know someone? And he said, as soon as they open their mouth, as soon as they begin to speak. Because the connection between the heart and the tongue. Alhamdulillah, I want to say, and I want to utilize my words to inspire you all. This is a beautiful month. May Allah bless you all with the best Ramadan yet. You all, every time I come and visit this particular community, I am rejuvenated. It's fuel to see the people on a weekday here seeking closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And alhamdulillah, there's a lot of things going on in the world, and this is the nature of the dunya. However, alhamdulillah, we have community. And community, utilize the words that are best, and don't allow shaitan to use your words against you and cause division. I'm right out here. I'm asking you all to come by the booth and give us just good words, the charity of good words. And if you have other type of charity, alhamdulillah. But for the most part, the charity of good words and the smile, ibtisam, sadaqah, right? Give charity in that way. In closing, I want to talk a little bit about Islah LA. Everyone say Islah LA. Say Islah Academy. Alhamdulillah, I grew up the son of an imam, but not just any imam. He was an imam in the inner city. You know, I just want to describe one instance in the inner city just to kind of paint a picture of what my father had to go through, trying to instill and foster Islamic education within the masjid, but also serve the needs of those who are outside of the community. I watched my father do this for years. But I want to just describe an instance, one Eid. Me and my friends, right? My friends, young African-American Muslim males, at the Eid. All of us around each other. We grew up amongst each other. Names like Mustafa, names like Sabir, names like Abdullah, and so on and so forth. I'll never forget, we went around because we're products of the inner city, products of public school. we knew each other. They went around introducing the gangs that they were from. Some said Rolling 60s, Neighborhoods, Crips. Others say Fruit Towns. Others say Pyru Gang, and so on and so forth. And if you don't know about any of those names, say Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. But we watched as we got older, we looked back and saw that some of those in that group during that Eid ended up getting killed. Some ended up doing life in prison. Many of them lost. And I found myself in a position where I can no longer see the friends that I grew up with. So one of the inspirations when I became Imam in 2008 was to make changes so we don't have to continue burying Muslims, right? Because of the surrounding culture in the neighborhood. So we don't have to continue writing our young brothers and sisters who were, again, influenced by the culture in the neighborhood. So alhamdulillah, today at Islah we have a full-time food pantry that serves more than 120 families on a weekly basis. We have housing for the formerly incarcerated, our returning citizens who leave prison, and we don't want them going back into prison. So we provided them a Muslim environment, right? Where the brothers and sisters are fasting together. We have 2 houses for sisters and 2 houses for formerly incarcerated and homeless brothers who are threatened with homelessness. We also have mental health services. Mental health services provided for the entire community. And we have a full-time Islamic school, K through 8. Imagine, instead of having to be victimized by the culture that they introduced to in the public school, we have our own school, Islah Academy, where young Mustafa and young Khadija, they're now memorizing Quran right there on Crenshaw and Slauson. And this, you all may not see how much of a miracle this is, being able to be Muslim in that community, but it's definitely a miracle. And guess what? These are your organizations. I'm just here to remind you that you all have 2 organizations in the inner city, Islah LA and Islah Academy. We'll be right out there. We need your support to continue the beautiful work that we want to expand upon. You all are awesome. Alhamdulillah, I love visiting this beautiful community, and may Allah continue to give you the ability to flourish. We are in this together, and we're family. I'm your brother. Come and visit us right out there. And for the young people, we got some merch right out there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair, Imam Jihad. It's always fascinating when you visit us, and we're really honored to have you all the time. Your words penetrate the hearts, right? Wallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase in acceptance and barakah and in islah that you actually are shedding, in the area. Bi-idhnillah azza wa jalla. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Allah yahfadhkum. Quick note, barakallahu feekum, for our kids and children. May Allah bless our kids and children. Ameen. So in salah, during salah, some of the kids are a little hyper. So we want to make sure that we get that tranquility, inshallah, during the salah. Make sure that if you know your kid, he's hyper or she's hyper, inshallah, there is mommy and me room. And for the brothers, you can pray outside and still hear the salah and join us, inshallah. Otherwise, it's a good training for them, inshallah, to participate in salah. May Allah bless you, bless your kids, and bless your families. And jazakumullah khairan.
استووا إلى الصلاة يرحمكم الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ليس بأمانيكم ولا أماني أهل الكتاب من يعمل سوءا يجز به ولا يجد له من دون الله وليا ولا نصيرا. ومن يعمل من الصالحات من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فأولئك يدخلون الجنة ولا يظلمون نقيرا. ومن أحسن دينا ممن أسلم وجهه لله وهو محسن واتبع ملة إبراهيم حنيفا واتخذ الله إبراهيم خليلا. ولله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وكان الله بكل شيء محيطا. ويستفتونك في النساء قل الله يفتيكم فيهن وما يتلى عليكم في الكتاب في يتامى النساء اللاتي لا تؤتونهن ما كتب لهن وترغبون أن تنكحوهن والمستضعفين من الولدان وأن تقوموا لليتامى بالقسط وما تفعلوا من خير فإن الله كان به عليما. وإن امرأة خافت من بعلها نشوزا أو إعراضا فلا جناح عليهما أن يصلحا بينهما صلحا والصلح خير. وأحضرت الأنفس الشح وإن تحسنوا وتتقوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا. ولن تستطيعوا أن تعدلوا بين النساء ولو حرصتم فلا تميلوا كل الميل فتذروها كالمعلقة. وإن تصلحوا وتتقوا فإن الله كان غفورا رحيما. وإن يتفرقا يغن الله كلا من سعته وكان الله واسعا حكيما. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ولله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض ولقد وصينا الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم وإياكم أن اتقوا الله وإن تكفروا فإن لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وكان الله غنيا حميدا. ولله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وكفى بالله وكيلا. إن يشأ يذهبكم أيها الناس ويأت بآخرين وكان الله على ذلك قديرا. من كان يريد ثواب الدنيا فعند الله ثواب الدنيا والآخرة وكان الله سميعا بصيرا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما فلا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا وإن تلووا أو تعرضوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا بالله ورسوله والكتاب الذي نزل على رسوله والكتاب الذي أنزل من قبل ومن يكفر بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر فقد ضل ضلالا بعيدا. إن الذين آمنوا ثم كفروا ثم آمنوا ثم كفروا ثم ازدادوا كفرا لم يكن الله ليغفر لهم ولا ليهديهم سبيلا. بشر المنافقين بأن لهم عذابا أليما. الذين يتخذون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين أيبتغون عندهم العزة فإن العزة لله جميعا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.